Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello.
So we're actually sitting together for the first time ever recording a podcast.
It kind of feels weird and awesome at the same time.
I know, I can't even look at you.
I know.
I'm looking at my notes. Let's pretend we're far, far away from each other.
Yes.
So how was your week?
It's been busy and I still have this voice, so bear with me, but I feel like we're on the mend. You?
You still have a voice. I just got one. The whole family had a virus for the past week and a bit. It's still lingering. They thought that one of the kids had pneumonia, but it turns out it's just this awful virus that we still have. So yeah, it's been an awesome week.
Oh, those kids, they're cute but full of germs.
Oh yeah. So let's just get right into it. We had some big stuff. I guess everything we've been waiting for happened. I don't know how exciting it turned out to be, but let's get into it and see if it was. So we were left off on the bridge. So this week we got to see that I think you had said last week that Jason would have saved her. And I really did. Well, first of all, I don't know why I even doubt you at this point because everything you say comes true. But I didn't see how on earth Jason could have saved her. But I love that they explained it.
Me too, because he was kind of a distance away when Ryan held onto her collar and pulled her over the edge. So I didn't think he'd make it to there in time, but he did because he's Jason and he's a darn superhero.
And then they also mentioned that she was holding on herself.
Yes.
Good for her to even think about doing that. So what was super amazing and just like memorable about that whole thing is pretty much Ava and Laura's scenes together. I mean, those two, they're amazing. They may not be best friends, but they certainly, I don't know. There's just something amazing when they're on screen together.
Well, they have a mutual respect for each other,
Yeah.
and Laura actually looks at her like a human being. She doesn't look at her for all her previous kind of bad things that she's done. And because of everything that's happened, it's just the fact that Laura's the one who had to unveil everything to her, I think is the only way it could have gone down with it finally sinking in with her.
I mean, either way, it looks like it took a lot of time. It's just that, okay, just the fact that you said that it was the only way for her to process this, I have to read somebody's comment because I think that they kind of nailed it in terms of that interaction, because we all saw that it took Ava a really long time and Laura was super careful about how she was telling her, what she was telling her, but she also didn't stop. Like, she was really persistent in getting her point across. And so what I really, the comment I really liked was, so it was from Gail Starn 6. She said, 2 fantastic performances by 2 fine actresses. Gut-wrenching to watch as Laura slowly but surely delivers the truth in small doses Ava can process. So yes, I think that perfectly captures how it actually went down. It was bit by bit. And I think that's sort of the kind of thing you want. Like, after a really long storyline, you kind of want a slow process. You do want to see it sink in. But I guess for me, the disappointing part was that there was all of this like slow processing the fact that she didn't have any Kevin. That was heartbreaking to see. That she thought that she was duped in the sense that she was with a real Kevin.
Yes.
And it didn't even cross my mind that this would be hard for her to see, hey, real Kevin later and real Kevin is really with Laura. Because clearly what she liked about Kevin more than how much he loved her was the fact that he was respected. And it was kind of like what I think she was hoping to get from Griffin but didn't get, was that a doctor priest loved her, which somehow validated her.
True.
But this was different. It was this like respected doctor and person in the community. And I think kind of like what Valentine searches for.
That's a good point.
And all those like reformed villains, they're searching for like acceptance and to be like welcomed into like the Port Charles community. And that's like, I mean, let's face it, Ava tries to do that, and she's mad that it's not there. What's really interesting is that she's always looking to get that acceptance through a relationship, and you pointed out that she is getting that through Laura.
Yes.
Being seen as a real person, but it's just not fully. It's not sinking in, not for Ava anyway.
It's not. She always wants validation, unfortunately, through men. But yes, the whole thing that she thought she was duped only within the last 24 hours.
So sad.
So sad. I didn't even think of that. But taking a step further, so I'm looking at the scene, and part of me, my heart's ripped out of my chest and I'm crying. But there's also a part of me that, she's doing a little bit of scream crying my kids do a little bit of scream crying, so I tend to tune that out. So I had to rewind the scene at least 3 times to really focus in and forget the scream crying and really focus on the words coming out of her mouth.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, okay, children, the brain of mom, stop and focus on what you're watching.
I really wish I could tune it out and not hear the scream crying. I'm not there yet. But I guess for me, like you're like the Gail was saying in her comment, you know, Laura slowly delivered information so that she can process it bit by bit because it was an extreme shock. But I mean, I get that she was doing that, but at the same time, I was thinking, can't you just give her a little bit more information? Like, you could at least tell her you were in the same place at the same time with both Kevin and Ryan. You could let her know that you were held captive by him. Yes. And just give a little bit more detail that would validate what happened. Mm-hmm. Obviously, what she did was eventually enough. But I guess for me, what I was waiting for, and I realized in that scene that it was a lot for her to process, but I was wondering, where is the Kiki element gonna come in?
Me too. What part? How is she gonna unveil this? And if she's still not piecing together the fact that Ryan was the one who killed Kiki, how is she going to kind of put it all together? I was really, and when she screamed Kiki at the end of the scene, I still wasn't sure that she actually got it.
Me neither. And it's sort of like, we got some part of a good ending, but I guess that was the part I wanted to really see. And ultimately it turns out, because based on the next day and based on her being drunk and seeing Franco, it seems as though that was her making the connection by screaming Kiki. It turns out she did know, but we didn't really see it. We just sort of see her kind of knowing the next day. It just was so subtle. And I just think that after so long, I wanted it to be a little bit more in your face, and I get that there's only so much excruciating scenes that we can that like Maura West can actually perform. So I kind of hoped it was going to be at the same time in the same place with Laura in particular. But either way, it was just an amazing performance, and a lot of people think so. So in terms of the whole Kiki part, Bajangle 50 said, "When Ava screamed Kiki, my heart broke for her and my ears flowed." Oh no, my tears flowed. Sorry, the cursor was in the way. Her tears flowed. Superb performance. Also, Buddy88MO said, "In a long soap career, Maura West continues to shock, astonish, and thrill. Emmy time for sure." I feel like we don't get daytime Emmys anymore. Like, they don't air. I don't know if they don't televise them anymore, but I don't remember the last time I got to see a daytime Emmy and get to see the soap.
We're gonna have to Google it because, quite frankly, I don't watch a whole lot of TV apart from Children Netflix. Oh no! So I'm definitely gonna make sure that we get our eyes on this year.
Patricia Lucenti said, "This was great acting. I felt so bad for Ava. They did a great job. Thanks, GH, my favorite soap." And this comment, I feel, really captures the complexity of Ava's character, and we've talked about this a lot. So Polly Pocket 1990. Oh my god, I used to have Polly Pocket. I'm not an Ava fan, but I cried for her in this episode. And that's the thing about Ava. She's not inherently kind of like the good guy, the person you root for. But when you do, or when something bad happens to her, you really do feel for her. And it's really amazing to kind of cry for a character you're not a fan of or don't necessarily root for. And I think that speaks volumes of just, not just the actress, well, it is really the actress,
but the writing as well. Like, just really making sure that character is still in line with who she is, because they're bits and pieces. And you saw it even in her conversation with Laura. There are parts of her that she was just very angry and devastated. There's other parts where you saw her understanding and processing. And sometimes she'd revert back to that Ava with that look in her eyes, like she wanted to just rip Laura's eyes out, but then she'd soften again. So it just kind of went up and down. But Ava's incredible.
She is. And the part where I was kind of like, where is this going, Laura? Because I guess she knew better. I mean, I guess when she was trying to arrange transportation.
Oh my God.
Ava,
I know.
I was like, hey, what's happening? Like, are they all going to end up in Jason's Jeep? Back.
I know. That would have been a funny scene, though.
But then I kind of realized that, Carly and Jason were sort of left behind. Right. And all that stuff. So to that point, okay, when I saw Jason and Carly in the hospital, to be honest, I kind of didn't even click that she would be in Niagara still. I
Me
kind of
neither.
thought she was back in Port Charles.
I thought the same thing, and I thought it was really funny that obviously it's a super small hospital is what they're making it out to be.
Yeah, it just has a lobby and 2 rooms.
Exactly, specifically for our wonderful Port Charles characters.
I mean, okay, I've said it a lot. It's just, I just find that Jason and Carly's love for each other is extra pronounced since he's gotten back.
Yes.
Like, it's really, really intense. And it's like, I don't know if they're foreshadowing something or if it's just like we want everyone to know that they're really, 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 really close. Jason still has all that chemistry with Sam. It's present in all of their scenes. There's just something really special about when he is with Carly. So it's just really interesting. And Carly did an amazing job falling off that tiny
She really did. I was laughing, and then when his arm kind of plunged down,
amazing.
It was a beautiful scene when they were they holding hands in the hospital? I can't remember, but there was I felt like there was a scene where they were physically touching again in the hospital, and then when he brought her the smoothie,
oh my gosh,
was laughing so hard because in that moment, I follow him in real life, and he's a health nut, and on the show he's obviously very well built and he has to be strong. And she's a junk food addict. So, but at first, when I saw the smoothie, I was so excited because I love smoothies. And her face was just classic. I loved it. She's like, yeah, okay, put it over there.
I just love that, the show's been off for so long, but I just like that there's just specific traits of characters that we know. And we know immediately that they're going to like something or not going to like something. So I thought that was super funny. And it was just interesting. So that's the thing. A lot happened with this whole Ryan storyline. Just to, when Jason sees Joss.
Yes.
It's kind of all that's really happening afterwards is that you're making connections. So Jason's making connections that, oh my gosh, Joss was actually at the same hotel.
Right.
And she doesn't seem to know. Cam knows, but she's got enough going on that she's not super involved in that.
Absolutely.
And so he's able to tell her that her mother is actually in the hospital. And I mean, she wasted no time calling Carly old.
I was laughing so hard when that scene came on. I couldn't take it.
It was super funny to get her reaction. But I'm just saying, a lot is going on. Her mother is in Niagara Falls. You're telling me she's in the hospital because there was a complication with her pregnancy? I was just surprised that Joss didn't push for more detail as to, why her mother would be in Niagara and why she has bruises all over. And the sole focus in their conversation was just the pregnancy. So that kind of surprised me a little.
Well, I guess with everything going on with Oscar and the fact that she almost had sex with Oscar kind of clouds your judgment.
That's true. And I did I like to pretend that we live in a world where that happens, that the teenagers actually talk to their parents.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna hold on to that. I'm just gonna hold on to that. Joss has that relationship. She's already had that talk with Carly, and it was really cool that they had that honest conversation. And I thought it was super sweet when Oscar went to his dad to sort of talk about that.
Okay, when he was talking about intimacy and that, having sex is more than just having sex, did you feel that he was kind of putting the dots together with him and Kim?
No.
Okay, there was a part of me that was thinking, because he kept saying, you have to trust somebody, you have to be comfortable with them, and all the things he was saying, it almost looked like Drew had an expression and that he was putting some things together, but I guess maybe not.
Well, I mean, I think it's just important, and it's a big conversation. He said, he thought it was a conversation he would be having years from now.
Yeah.
So I just think he got to have a big parenting moment, if anything.
True.
And
True.
Hopefully he'll start to connect the dots with Kim. I mean, I just think that's the direction it's going. It feels a little bit more natural if it were to go that way. I know this is me just nitpicking, but given that Jason was in the lobby and his brother is in the room right there, and even Carly, Oscar asked Joss, where were you? Why can't you say my mom is in the hospital? How, the thing in soap operas that irk me the most is the withholding of really important information or badly paraphrasing what just happened.
Oh, yes.
And leaving out massive details. So that sort of bugged me a little bit. But from one hospital to another, so it looks like Oscar survived his transport to GH.
Thank goodness. I did not want to be right about that one, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's we a lot of people talked about how Oscar might be the transplant, but Stella sort of poked in her comment.
Right, I noticed that.
Make me think it would be a lot funnier, and I think it would be a lot for the Ashford family and their storyline.
Yes.
If it were to be Stella, as opposed to like Oscar, because even Maxie's transplant, it was from a person that was so meaningful, and the transplant, like, it still has meaning. Like, she has the anniversary of the transplant. She still thinks of BJ. It's a name that still comes up. Absolutely. So I think it would be more meaningful if Jordan's kidney came from Stella as opposed to Oscar at this point.
I agree. I'm tired of people dying for the transplant as opposed to, you know, Stella being a match, and then she gets it, and then she gets to make all these lovely jokes about how she's a piece of Stella and Jordan, you know?
I think that comedy around something so serious would be amazing.
Agreed.
And so, okay, so now we're still at the hospital, and I don't know about you, but like, notice like Lulu's like she's got a lot of
emotions, lots going on in that girl's head.
A lot to say about everything that happened. Mom, you could have died. You're the closest person. I was just like, it's just funny because to me, I just feel like her like overreaction, her massive reaction is a lot of like, let's forget that I misidentified Franco. That's all I'm really hearing when Lulu's actually like opening her mouth and talking.
I like
but
that.
Laura and Kevin finally had the conversation.
I was like, when they were professing their love and he was saying how happy he was to see her, I'm like, Laura, but wait, there's more. Don't get all romantic yet. And it finally came out. And we got a little bit of an explanation too about what is it called? The DVX or the DVR?
Yes, that they're the ones who sort of took him immediately after, which kind of makes sense. Yes. I guess, well, for us, it said so flat.
Yes.
But I don't know. Just that as he was telling the story, she seemed like she was understanding.
To an extent, until she found out how long
he knew. And I guess there's just no way around that lie.
No, because he played it right. The way he said, you know, they would have killed my brother and I wanted to help him. So he was making it seem like this happened a month ago. Or 3 weeks, or however the time frame would have been before the switch. But when he said May 2018, her face just changed, and it was like, I'm done with you.
I know, and it's like, I know it's stupid, but like, I feel bad for Kevin, but then Laura points out, like, look at how people died because of what you did, and had you just said something, we would have known immediately that you switched places as opposed to you're acting weird. So kind of giving him his due in that sense, like just giving him that blame because it is on him, a lot of it. Yeah. It's just that, but now I just feel like, you know, Ava, there might be an opening for Kevin.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, so is Kevin going to become part of the elite group of town pariahs? And then him and Ava will meet over at Charlie's or whatever the case may be and maybe have a connection. It's kind of weird and twisted.
I was thinking that until I saw, you know, Scott stepping back into her life.
True.
And and he was trying, I don't know how serious he was, and I don't know if her being with who he thought was Kevin was prompting him to maybe push for a relationship with her, or if that's something he still wants now that she is free and clear of Kevin or Ryan or whoever. So I don't know, but I think she's definitely going to have somebody in her near future. I think it's either going to be,
I think so too,
you know, Kevin, or it's going to be Scott, but I think somebody is going to be there. But I mean, look, you know what you're saying? You said how Laura, you know, really looks at her and sees her as a person. Right. Are we forgetting that Scott has always been that way with her?
Right.
He has always accepted her. So I don't know. Maybe she's just been looking and he was just right there in front of her the whole time. You didn't need to be accepted by a priest doctor or by a psychologist. You could have been accepted by the like loud, obnoxious
I was gonna say
lawyer.
Scott's a little loud sometimes, so you know, maybe she blocks out the noise. Don't have block out the kids' noise sometimes, so we'll see.
But they were really fun together, so it would be really funny. It would be really funny to see her with Scott, and it kind of would still keep her in Laura's orbit, I find.
True. And Franco's.
yeah, it would. It would give her a nice spot. And I mean, now that you're saying that also in Franco, I mean, she had a nice interaction with Elizabeth. You know, Elizabeth was really kind to her.
Mm-hmm. And she said, I thought it was cute because she was all drunk. I loved the drunk Ava scene. And she's like, Elizabeth is beautiful. You have this family. And I was like, this is so funny. And she was
complimenting her boys.
Yes. And like, she was so happy to see her when she walked in the room. I did love when she sat down with Franco, though, and said, I hope that Ryan is alive. Yeah. And then that twinkle happened that she does so that I can tear him apart or I can kill him or something along those lines she said. But just, I love how she just turns that look on and off. Like, it amazes me every single time.
It's just that it means that this is going to go on.
Oh yeah, she has to find him. It cannot be that he falls in the water. That is not a satisfying ending to me, to know that he like froze to death in the water. Like, it's not enough.
So I guess for me, you know, I am cool with the way things are unfolding. Everything is out and we're seeing it trickle out into the town bit by bit. But I guess I like the explosive ending. Yes. And I mean, to me, the most satisfactory ending was everything with Nell. Like, that was quite explosive. It was in your face. Everyone kind of got their sort of closure and conversation with Nell. Yes, I know the baby switch part is still happening, but in terms of between her and Carly,
exactly,
which was the thing we all knew about, that I felt was really satisfying. So everything with this is still... It's still happening.
Yeah, it's not over yet, and I'm good with that.
And I feel bad for Ava for it to still be happening, but in a way, I guess happy for her, because I think the only thing that would give her dignity back, which is what she felt Ryan stole from her, would be to kill him herself. So on that end, I guess for Ava's sake, it's a good thing it's still going on, and it gives her a chance to do what she's what she needs to do.
She needs to do it. She absolutely needs to do it. This is how, exactly, we all seek different kinds of closure. This is what Ava needs.
Yeah. So we were talking about Franco and how Elizabeth walked in. So she took a turn that I didn't anticipate.
Me neither. And you can't see me, but I'm rolling my eyes.
It's just, it took her this long to consider the impact on her boys. And I mean, I get it. It took this long for them to age her children, for them to tell her that it has...
Good point.
An impact on them. But I like that when she tried to confront Jordan.
Yes.
And the thing is, part of me is just sort of like, given your rationale for being mad at Franco, which was, it doesn't matter what Jordan asked you, this was between you and me, kind of sort of voids her anger towards Jordan, because you're not allowing Jordan to be the excuse for Franco.
Okay.
So then why would you turn around and get mad at her if you're expecting that Jordan or no one or no extenuating circumstances, even putting Kiki's killer away, to be an excuse for Franco lying? So on that end, it doesn't justify her going to Jordan in the first place. But I like that Jordan didn't take it. She's like, if you're concerned, he may not have been a serial killer in this case, but if you're concerned about the impact of your kids, because the thing is, she was right in that sense, because even if Franco was never accused of this, the point is, everybody knows his history, and at some point in time, I think all the kids would have succumbed to some kind of bullying, or somebody... like pushing that in their face and taunting them about Franco's past. She still goes through it, but she's an adult, and a lot of adults in her life have kind of let it slide, but not really. They still kind of make it a point of saying, we disapprove, but we're just doing this for you. But it's just a bit more civil. It's not civil when it comes to kids.
No, it's definitely not. It was really seeing a part of old Elizabeth, you know, like the meddling, the not always having a concrete point, the being high and mighty.
Yeah.
That was the Elizabeth, that kind of, and she's taken a rest for quite some weeks. So I think she really needed to come out.
I think so. I didn't know what to think when Cam came back. It's so funny, you know, like the rich kids get the helicopter ride.
He had to take the bus.
And him and Trina had to slum it back to Port Charles. So when he came back, I actually didn't know if Elizabeth was going to start dumping her relationship woes onto him.
Me too.
But he kind of jumped in and sort of said stuff like, well, Franco's a hero. So, I mean, it doesn't shock me that Cam would understand.
No, he's very logical, and he tends to be sometimes the adult in the relationship. So they have a weird kind of parenting dynamic. And I was really happy that Cam wanted to go and see him. Yeah, and say what he needed to say.
And we shouldn't be surprised, because he did this before when he went to go see him in his art room to kind of accept him into the family and to make peace with him. So Cam going in there is just... She brought him in there. So I just feel like, I know she's being respectful to her kid, but what's your point? You're kind of giving Franco mixed signals here.
Absolutely.
You're bringing your son in to see him. And it's just, I kind of agree with all of Franco's arguments. You know, I agree with it being a life and death situation.
Yes.
I agree with, he was protecting her. If they went after someone close to him like Kiki,
Absolutely.
they could have went after her. And she keeps saying she would have wanted to know. And I mean, they didn't talk about this, but I think Jordan had a point. If Elizabeth knew, you said it, she could be high and mighty. If she was overconfident in her trust toward him, and in her arguments with Cam, you're telling me she wouldn't have been tempted to tell Cam the whole thing just to calm him down? And then what would have happened if Cam knew the truth? Would he have been able to keep it to himself? So I think Franco not telling them took away a burden where they didn't have to struggle with keeping something like this to themselves.
Agreed.
And to Franco's point, this is the thing that's too much. Like, of all the lies.
Yes.
Of all the lies. Because he's told a lot of lies up until this point.
Okay.
She's had to, he's held a lot back from her in the past.
Okay.
So in a way, I do understand him. We've worked through so much before. And that was actually the most justifiable of all the lies.
Right.
And done because his child was taken from him. Because that is who Kiki was to him. This is the one that becomes unforgivable. This is the one that pushes the envelope that you don't think you can move forward.
It's so bizarre what she chooses to latch onto, and I think that Cam's perspective on things is definitely the person who's going to sway her.
I think so. I think Cameron's approval means a lot to her.
Absolutely.
And I think his reaction to everything. And I mean, look, I get it. It's traumatic. You had the police raid your house, and I did hear her when she said, had I known, I would have sent the boys away.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, maybe you could have sent the boys away regardless.
Exactly.
How many times have Sonny and Carly sent their kids to an island when things were getting a little too heavy? So there was that too. So I don't know, Elizabeth, you're in a little bit of a pickle.
Agreed.
But I just feel like, what other choice do you have? Like, you chose to marry him for better or for worse. You chose to marry him when he pled guilty.
Exactly.
Because he pled guilty, right?
Yes.
Isn't that why he was in jail?
Yes.
Or did he have court yet?
Oh, he didn't plead guilty, but he was arrested, and they thought he was guilty. And then Jordan approached him afterwards.
Right.
With that. But the thing
so
is...
she married him while he was in that whole situation.
Exactly. In the middle of the situation. And like we've discussed, yes, it was a tumor, but she knew his history. She knew his past. She is not new. She is not blinded by this relationship. So I don't understand what's happening right now.
I can't believe that we're at a point where I'm like, come on, forgive
I know,
Franco.
right?
Just
so
take it
weird.
back. It's so weird.
Very weird.
And also real fast, I really hope Cam doesn't end up in juvie, because he did point out that he missed his community service, and his judge was extremely strict about all that stuff. And also wanting to point out, it was the return of Nurse Amy.
Yes, she's wonderful. I love her, and I can't wait to see what else they're going to do with her. But it's been a while, right?
It's been a really, really long time since she's been involved. Okay, so let's jump into something kind of fun.
Okay.
So we're left off, I felt cheated, just like maybe, well, now we know that Alexis didn't feel cheated because she woke up from an intense dream.
Right.
Now we know why. So I am so happy that she called Finn.
Okay, but you're the one that said last week that I hope that Finn is the one that comes and helps her out. So you got that one. Points for you.
Oh, it's true. I finally got something right. But do you, because I don't know if you didn't watch when they were dating.
No.
So when you see them together.
Love their dynamic.
Yeah.
I was just...
Because they slept together. They did. They did it.
Because their scene, their chemistry, the way they were looking at each other. But he was even being a little cheeky, I found at some point.
Yeah.
Like, if you need anything else. I was like, Finn, are you actually flirting? Like, what is happening right now?
Right?
It was weird.
So...
But I liked it.
They have a bond for sure, but it's just Anna was playing this push-pull game, I love you, but I can't be with you. So there was a lot going on. He had all this baggage with Anna.
Okay.
She always has baggage with Julian.
Right.
But it's just that even though Finn is cute with Anna, he was also really cute with Alexis.
Yeah.
And I would have really liked him with Alexis. But anyways, we come to find out that from Finn being there to support her, that she came to the conclusion that she's messed up and that she likes bad Julian, which was really interesting.
It was.
And finally really honest, and we're finally getting some sense into why this was so traumatic for her and why she needed the bottle of alcohol. Because
Absolutely.
I was like, okay, it was a sex dream. Are we what's going on?
Happening?
Why?
Yeah.
Because last week we were all concerned. I was concerned.
Right.
I'm she's clearly suffering and we don't understand exactly what drove her.
Exactly.
So he's there for her. He helps her. He soaks her feet in vodka.
Who knew?
But the thing was, I was really happy that Finn called her on her constant expeditions to Charlie's.
Oh, I agree. It's like he was speaking to her from our perspective. I loved it.
I did like that. And I mean, I understand that her daughter works there and it's her daughter's choice to kind of put herself in these insane situations.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you have to allow Kristina to sort of rule you. And I'm just thinking, like, part of her recovery was that her kids had to know what was going on and where she was at with her drinking.
Okay.
And I just think that given that this Julian thing is affecting her sobriety on a certain level,
yes,
I just think that it's fair for Alexis to be like, hey guys, things have been getting to me. You know, maybe we can meet at Kelly's.
Absolutely.
And Kristina can take an Uber to her damn job later.
Oh my gosh. It's really, I mean, we know Kristina, her character is selfish and that she can't see outside herself. I mean, she was still trying to, and I love that her sister called her out and said, you know, Mom's divulging all this information to us and you're trying to sell her on some sort of DOD seminar. Can you just let her be? I was like, yes.
I love it. All of that took Molly 2 seconds because that is essentially the problem in her friendship with Valerie. Is that she's a constant DOD commercial. She's not a real person. She's a commercial. She's a paid advertisement.
Well, she's like, Molly's like, when is the last time you had an original thought? I was like, boom, there you go.
Like, basically, it's just that it took Valerie a long time to sort of say that, and I get it. It's a different dynamic.
Yes.
It's a friendship. And Molly has been out of it for a long time, and I just felt like, Molly, you don't have to give us an excuse. You have the right to live your life, go educate yourself, enjoy your healthy, functional relationship. It makes sense why you're there, and so you don't have to make excuses for living your life. But like I just feel sad for her because without her around, like, Alexis and Kristina are just completely falling apart.
Lost.
And even at first, we kind of thought that Alexis's complacency about DOD was based on the fact that she knew that Sam was handling it.
True.
But she doesn't know. Now, for all she understands is that, you know, Sam is not with Jason. She's also part of DOD. And so it's like, now I just feel like she's just completely oblivious, and obviously she has her own stuff going on.
True.
But that's so concerning to Molly. Like, for Alexis, she's like, well, she's being nice to me, and it's just sad that it takes a cult for Kristina to tone it down with Alexis for them to find peace, is that she has to be in this messed up place, which I don't know what it's going to mean for their relationship after.
Ooh, maybe they can connect on their messed upness.
Oh my gosh, that's like a huge draw between the two of them, you know, but in terms of that. But yeah, poor Molly. So she comes to this dinner. She literally hears bits and pieces. Meanwhile, Jason and Sam need to Google what being in a cult is and all the signs. I don't know how long after they started this whole investigation. And it takes Molly literally 2 seconds to put it all together.
Absolutely.
And so I just feel like, is Spinelli losing his touch? Because he sort of accused Sam of, like, do you not have, like, an accurate picture?
I was shocked because, I mean, this is Sam.
He can't find things lately. He's
been brutal.
He's really not been helpful in terms of working on the Shiloh case.
Yes.
He hasn't really come up with very much.
True.
And if you're hacking, I feel like, can't you hack into his iPad?
Right. And if, like, there's all these forums and all this, like, image tracking and all, like, there's gotta be a way. He's getting rusty.
Well, even Sam has found a bunch of people who, like, left a cult, and I don't know if she was talking about left cults in general or left DOD.
DOD, okay.
But I just feel like being on that track of understanding it's a cult, I just feel like she'd benefit from finding people who've left DOD and kind of doing her own investigation as opposed to sticking with Shiloh. Like, I get what she's doing, you know, stay close to Kristina, it's necessary, but it's just a long thing because to get to the top, you have to do all these, like, advanced courses and things like that. So I just feel like your time would be, you know, at this point, better spent just kind of digging for more dirt.
Well, yeah, and especially on these underground forums, and you can go in as being an anonymous person and just digging through it and figuring out why people left. It's another avenue for her or Spinelli to go through to find more information.
Yeah, just kind of proof that she doesn't really need to be going to the Donna
close
Day
to
house
him.
because she left the Charlie's to go to the Donna Day house.
For
and I was
what though? Like
anyways, I just
Yes.
like I said, I just don't know how much she could actually get. Like at this point, it's like,
agree.
what's your plan? You might as well just ask him straight up.
But talking about Shiloh and that scene with him and
Harmony?
Kim and Drew, before we even get into Harmony, I loved Kim's feistiness. I
Well-
like it when she gets a little feisty, and she really stood up for the fact that she believes in medicine. This is what's happening. And what does she call him? A
But
charlatan?
more than that, yeah, I love that she did that to Drew, and it really validated, his concerns, and I think it even validated Kim for him. Like, okay, great, she's like with me, we're on the same page. But I just basically liked how they were firm and strong in the whole like F off thing, because it's not just the fact that he's creeping in and she believes in medicine and he doesn't. The point is, this is a minor we're talking about.
Yes.
And you're kind of overstepping on the parent's role here. Regardless of the fact that Oscar called him over, he's an adult, he's not a kid, you're not his buddy, you're a grown man.
It's a very good
And you
point.
went up to his parents, and it's just, the fact that he doesn't get that is a bit odd. Anyways, it's strange how like all of a sudden now we're pulling Oscar back into this DOD story. Anyways, but I like how she labeled something, because there is such a thing as natural medicines and alternative methods of healing, and she's aware of them, and she used a real term. And he was like, no, we don't use terms in our seminars. And I'm just like, well, oh, please, just be quiet. And the funny thing is, like, when he was with Harmony, the lines that are coming out of his mouth, and I'm sorry, but it was the best thing I've heard. It's the best thing I feel like Shiloh's given us since he started on General Hospital, was that line with Harmony. Because, like, I mean, he doesn't want to report Charles. He doesn't.
No, at all.
And when she felt that he was, not, like, loving her anymore, the fact that he told her that their love was past the physical, that it was in the spiritual, I was just like, oh my gosh, I was dying of laughter.
Yes.
I was dying of laughter. But this is where we get that that push towards Willow, because now he made it clear that he was searching for somebody.
Yes. And we talked about this. Yeah. And we saw that there was potentially a connection. So when we saw Willow's reveal of her tattoo, it wasn't very shocking to me. It was like, okay, well, here we go. We have factual evidence.
Okay, but you predicted that it would be a faded tattoo. Like,
that's
she tried
true,
to
right?
get it removed.
That's true.
So,
she did not try to get it removed.
Oh. But you know what? But you know what's like kind of bugging me with this whole thing is that Valerie points out to Kristina that, I'm a cop and she's just looking critically at this, and she did refer to it as a cult.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, as a cop, does that not prompt you at all to maybe look into things a little bit more? And also the fact that she's partnered with Chase. I know Chase doesn't know. Like, he's not, like, DOD is not explicit to him in any sense of the word. It's not. But, just based on his connection with Willow, I'm just wondering, is this a case that they can actually get on board with? Is this one they can actually solve?
Well, since they don't solve anything, I don't know. But since it's not an actual case, maybe they will. So
maybe, at this point, I feel like Kristina did a really good job of pushing Valerie away.
Yes.
And of trying, and I think Valerie is really kind of maybe stressed out about her own issues and her own struggles, and struggling with what that kiss with Kristina meant. So I feel like it sucks, but I think that might distract her from maybe taking a closer look into Shiloh herself. Like, she might be too mad.
Well, there was that bartender at the hotel, at Carly's hotel.
Yeah.
That was, so maybe if she sees a book, or maybe if she gets to drinking and talking to this person at the bar, that it may open up some things for her.
But he had positive things to say. Like, even to Sunny, he was like positive about it. Because I don't know if he could afford the seminars. It seemed like he just read the books.
But maybe just that presence and the fact that there's somebody else, that it just might trigger something for her.
Yeah, I really hope
even,
so. The DA, but
right?
she's like, she can afford to be in the top level. Like, that's the worst part. She's all up in it, and she's not even in it. Like, I would be really impressed if she was in it because she was investigating him.
Right.
Because according to Spinelli, he may have killed people, so it would be amazing if the DA was actually onto something and on the right track and kind of going down the right path. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, actually getting the right perp as opposed to trying to like deflect and blame somebody else, that she was actually tracking the right person.
Absolutely.
Well, she was tracking the right person, but
that's like a whole other thing.
To
Sunny special.
We just didn't like it so much. So, okay, speaking of Willow, I am fully on Team Willow when it comes to Nina. I just really am. Yes. Like she goes and takes her away and then starts like talking about her personal life. I'm just like, can't you leave her alone? Like there should be a policy. You see the teacher, look the other way.
Exactly. Pretend she's like
she's
out
not
of her
in school. She's
natural habitat, and just like you can only speak to her when she's in school. Done.
Oh man, it's just gonna be such a hard pill for Nina to swallow because she's desperate for Michael to be with her daughter.
Yes.
Because he's such a good catch.
He's a good catch, but just she's got the wrong chick.
I know. And so, like, Maxie's getting closer.
And Valentine's getting closer.
You telling me that nobody can see through glass? No one can see through glass, and nobody can see him lurking around, and you don't hear footsteps following you. Like, I'm sorry. This is where Peter's expertise is supposed to come in. He's supposed to be, the Valentine expert.
True.
And so I just feel like you should be
on top of it more.
Yeah.
He should have, and the fact that Valentine doesn't disguise. He wears his expressions on his face. Like, he doesn't hide anything in his expressions. So all Peter had to do was look around at Charlie's or look out the window when they were in the lab.
I know.
And then see him there with his hateful eyes.
Well, obviously he's going to get away with it, no? Because he has an upper hand on them. He knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. So yes, he is going to tamper with it. Brad is easily swayed. Brad's thinking about his situation. He's not the most ethical person. And he's listening to the scenario of, whose kid belongs to whose, and how is that going to affect Brad too in all of this? Because he's going to feel for Valentine. He's going to feel for Nina. And he knows that just because your child is not biological does not mean it's not yours.
I don't even know if anyone's going to have the time to try to,
convince Brad?
Yeah, to convince Brad of anything, because it just sounds like he's sending somebody in to just sort of switch the test.
Well, that would be the Valentine way. I don't see him taking the heart-to-heart approach at all.
Oh, of course not. Nothing like that is going to happen. He already called somebody to handle it. It's just, is it really that bad? I feel like there should be security guards all over the lab.
That lab? Oh my God, how many times has that lab been tampered with? There should be cameras and there should be security all the time.
There is one thing, I know Brad is 100% guilty.
Yes.
On a lot of stuff. But I do feel bad in the way that Michael constantly monopolizes his time.
Oh my God. It's you cannot leave until you give me your baby or show me pictures.
He's like, I'm on the hospital board. You can be late. I want to see everything. It's just funny because Michael is not a forceful person.
Yes.
But he is when it comes to Brad. And it's just really funny. It's really funny. And so that's the only kind of way that I feel bad for Brad.
I agree. And those scenes with the three of them together, Willow, Michael, and Brad, it's always awkward and funny and ridiculous.
It really is. And so, so the thing about that is, Shiloh, my opinion is usually ill. And
yes.
Sort of like D.A. Dawson, it speaks to the character doing a really good job because he is supposed to be sleazy and creepy. We're not supposed to be all Shiloh, you're amazing. But now I'm questioning his intelligence because it sounds like they've been deeply tracking this Willow,
right.
And this person that he's been looking for.
Yes.
And I'm just you've been living in the same town for months. Daisy and Kristina, we're at Charlie's a lot. You've been to Charlie's.
Yes.
You've literally been to all the same places as Willow. And the fact that he can't find her and nobody can see that I'm using air quotes, I'm just it's a little special. It's a little special.
It is a little special.
Because they're supposed to be connected, no?
Exactly.
DOD is a cover, but the point is they're supposed to be even more sinister and deeply connected under all of that. So the fact that you can't find her, maybe he knew her under a different name.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe she changed her identity. Maybe she changed her hair color. We don't know to what extent she's gone to protect her child and herself.
But speaking of names, this is really funny. Mary Smith's smile said, just notice that Shiloh's inner circle have interesting names: Harmony, Daisy, and Willow.
Ooh, they do.
Yeah, so part of me is maybe it is her actual name,
right?
Given the Harmony Daisy connection. And so how we feel about Shiloh, but we have one person, Cabbage 3, who's says that they love Shiloh. Another funny comment is Eleanor Powell Butler says, want to see how this plays out. Can't believe Kristina is so gullible and desperate to belong. She is her mother's daughter.
Oh my gosh, exactly. So
much.
when they butt heads, it always makes me giggle because they are the same.
But you know what's funny? Because I'm always saying like how she is Sunny. But she is Alexis on the relationship front.
Yes, absolutely.
But she is Sunny in other ways, but she's like the worst.
I know. So
I hate to say it. I mean, Kristina's amazing, and Alexis and Sunny have their good parts, but it's like she has a lot of the tougher traits of both of them.
Good point. That is a very good point.
Okay, so something that people may not know. So I don't know if people realize. So the actor who plays Shiloh, his real name is Kobe Ryan McLaughlin.
McLaughlin?
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, now you're just being my echo, but yeah, that's exactly what I just said. And I don't think people have realized, but when we post about Shiloh, he gets in there and mixes it up with people commenting. And the funny thing is, I don't think people realize that it's actually him. He may not have a verified account, but that is the actor. And there were some funny interactions this week. So Faith_love_happiness wrote, don't like him. Me too. Completely agree with you. And so Kobe responds, I think he's awesome.
With an emoji with heart eyes.
Which made me laugh. And then Jennifer Francis 8326 wrote this. I don't mind the storyline because it gets us talking. Very true.
Yes.
Shiloh is a douchey douche. Agreed. However, he can reel them in. Curious of how they all intertwine. I really hope they don't get too many characters involved and then drop the ball. What I really love is J-Sam together and how hot Jason is. Let's be honest. And then Kobe responds to her saying the douchiest. And he's a real good sports because like GH fans or any soap fans, very, very strong in our opinion. So I think that's really funny because he's coming in and he's not playing a lovable character except to Cabbage 3.
No, I love him. And if anybody has a chance to go on his Instagram, he has
She loves the actor.
Yes, the actor.
The actor Kobe. She likes Kobe Ryan. Not so much Shiloh.
No, not Shiloh. But if you go
he's not won us over yet as the
No,
character.
and he does not have an Instagram page, Shiloh, thank goodness. That would be kind of funny, though. I really think it'd be hilarious. But Kobe Ryan, if you have a chance to go on his Instagram page, you will enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, that would be funny if there was an actual Shiloh Instagram page of like the DOD events and his speech.
The quotes and the things he says about spirituality. And I think it would be really kind of sarcastic, funny, a little dark. I love it.
That I would be really into. So speaking of how Kristina is messed up like Alexis, and we know this. Yes. I don't know. I still kind of thought that fantasy between her and Julian was amazing. And I mean, now I don't like... I'm just so on the fence because I agreed with Dream Julian.
So did I. And he made so many valid points about his relationship.
Well, yes. SC Hona said he was making so much sense and it was so hot. Elbaret 5050 said, have the dream come true, both belong together. And then Joyful Frath said, make the dream a reality. Yes. So, like, I think it was easy to think that until I heard Alexis's point of view, because she's just not healthy.
True.
She's just not in a healthy place. But like, I agree with Dream Julian. I think that they might be endgame. I do think Drew and Kim ultimately will end up together. They make sense, even though Kim and Julian are super fun together. They have a fun dynamic, but she doesn't let him in her life. And you know what?
Yes.
You know what? She never lied. Because when she met him, she was very much compartmentalizing her relationship with Julian.
Interesting, yeah, because you can definitely see it's one-dimensional. She thinks he's attractive. They have a good time. It's very light. It's very breezy. Whereas, Drew, they're going through this huge thing with Oscar, but she doesn't bring that into her relationship with Julian. She keeps it completely aside.
No. So do you think Molly is going to have to, like exit Kristina's life?
Honestly, I have a feeling that she might give her the boot, but that's just more ammunition for Molly to dig her heels in and maybe work with Sam.
I think Sam should go talk to Valerie. Like when she left, I thought I just think that she should talk to Valerie, just get a bit of an understanding of, I mean, I know it may not be anything new,
right,
but just teaming up with more people and maybe kind of, this is what I'm thinking. And I mean, it's more, I guess, on the emotional level, but just preparing this network of people to be ready to receive Kristina back when this whole thing is over. Because I mean, harassing Kristina at this point isn't going to work. Ultimately, Sam working behind the scenes, I think is probably the better thing at this point, and to expose the entire cult as opposed to extracting Kristina alone, because I don't see that happening.
I agree. It really has. Sam's going to have to take everything down in order for Kristina to believe what's happening. And just like you said earlier, with having Valerie and her gut instinct and her detective abilities, maybe having her on Sam's side in some way, either that be supporting Kristina afterwards or potentially helping in the case. Like we love it when different characters come together. This may be one of those opportunities.
I do. I would like to see that. And I'm just really happy that Molly's back. Another person that was back this week was Andre.
I was like, who's Anna talking to? But I was really happy that he was there to somewhat give her more information. But in the end, Finn was the voice of reason and said that she might have to talk to her sister.
I know, she really doesn't want to do that at all. But I was happy to see Dr. Maddox back. It was really cute that he got tested.
Yes.
But I mean, I just think that, and I mean, I know she's gonna, like, it's just kind of annoying, Anna going to Valentine. It's just, I just feel like, just stay away. But at the same time, I just think that the main memory, because she's basically asking for specific memories.
Absolutely.
And I just think that the main memory that is Alex's is everything to do with Heinrich.
I 100% agree, and Anna's going to be heartbroken.
Oh, yeah. So Sonny is still in Turkey, and he's basically missed a ton, and I just think it's hilarious that...
Well, I think it's funny that Robert really thought that Sonny was going to stay in the room after he explicitly said, stay in the room. Does he not know Sonny?
Well, not to mention that they dealt with that other agent who told them not to do anything, and then they both did something. So
exactly.
That was a clue. But I really did like the young kid, the actor that was helping Sonny. I thought he was really good. Because you never know when you have a new person on the show if they're going to be good, if they're not going to be good. True. But he did a really good job.
He fit really well with that scene and with reacting with Sonny.
I'm just not sure how Sonny is not dead on his one-man mission.
Right? Thankfully, he threw off those guards. So do you think we have a bad Dante?
I wished, but no. When Raj used the word claim, I was like, okay, I don't think he's convinced of Dante's loyalty. That makes me think that Dante is still good, but I'm really holding out hope that he's a bit bad.
So you got the Alexis bad boy complex now?
On that note, have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.